Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into some of the biggest changes we've seen on food labels in, well, years. We're going to talk about what they mean for your health, your children's health, and even your grandchildren's. It's really all about making healthy choices just a little bit simpler for everyone. Okay, let's just dive right in. For decades, right, if you wanted to make a healthy choice at the grocery store, you had to stop, flip the package over, and basically become a nutritionist right there in the aisle, trying to figure out that tiny chart. Well, that's all changing. The new way brings the most important info right to the front. No more searching, just a single, simple glance. So what's on this new label, this front of package label, or FOP, as they call it? It cuts through all the noise. It focuses on three key things that, the dietary guidelines say we should probably limit: saturated fat, sodium, and those added sugars. And it gives them a super simple rating: low, medium, or high. That's it. It's a quick, clear signal to help guide your choices. All right, so to really get the full picture, here's what we're going to unpack today. We'll start with the changes you'll actually see in the store, then we'll get into the deeper reason behind them. We'll look at the science, which is always changing. We'll even tackle a tricky real-world example, and finally, we'll bring it all back home to you and your family's health. Okay, let's get into our first section and really see what these changes are going to look like when you're walking down the grocery aisle. A change this big didn't just happen overnight. It's really the result of a 50-year journey. It all started with the first labels back in the 70s, then a huge scientific update in 2016, and now we have this new front-of-package system. The goal through it all has pretty much been the same: giving families the tools they need to fight back against the rise of diet-related chronic diseases. But this is about so much more than just a new design on a cereal box. It's really about a fundamental idea that's meant to make our whole society healthier. The committee behind the latest dietary guidelines put a massive emphasis on this idea of health equity. And the thinking is pretty simple. Clear nutrition information shouldn't be a luxury, right? It's a basic tool that absolutely everyone, no matter their background or education, should have to build a healthy life for themselves and their family. So here's the bottom line. This is all about breaking down barriers. By making labels easier for everyone to understand, the goal is to empower every community to make informed choices. It's about leveling the playing field when it comes to our health. Of course, these new labels are only as good as the science they're built on. And, as we all know, our understanding of what's actually healthy is constantly being updated and refined. This is actually a really big shift in thinking. For so long, we were told to focus on single nutrients, like fat is bad or carbs are bad. But now, the science tells us it's way more important to look at the whole picture, the overall dietary pattern. It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation of good, nutrient-dense foods, not just avoiding one bad brick. But what happens when the science isn't 100% settled? Well, it makes creating clear guidance really, really tricky. Let's look at a perfect example that I think we can all relate to: alcohol. I mean, we've all heard this, right? One day a glass of red wine is good for you, the next day it's not. This question, it really highlights a scientific debate that's happening right now. It's exactly the kind of messy, complex issue that health authorities have to sort through when they try to create guidelines for all of us. So on one side, you have literally decades of studies, hundreds of them, that showed this thing called a J-shaped curve. Basically, light to moderate drinkers seem to have better heart health than people who didn't drink at all. But then, on the other side, you've got these new, really powerful ways of analyzing data that are starting to suggest that, well, maybe there isn't a benefit after all. And this quote, wow, it really shows you just how passionate this debate is. You have top scientists saying, hey, wait a minute, you can't just toss out decades of consistent findings. They truly believe the evidence for a heart benefit is incredibly strong. And while that whole scientific debate rages on, we absolutely cannot lose sight of the other side of the coin. Because regardless of any potential long-term benefits, drinking alcohol comes with immediate and very, very serious risks, especially when it comes to safety. This data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is, well, it's truly sobering. In 2023, more than 1 out of every 3 drivers between 55 and 64 who were involved in a fatal crash were alcohol impaired. That is just a staggering number, and it's a stark reminder that the consequences can be absolutely devastating for families and for entire communities. So with all this, you've got clearer labels, but you also have some pretty complex science. How in the world do we put it all together and make the best decisions for our families, for our loved ones?
I think the key takeaway here is this. The goal is not for you to become a scientist. The goal is to give you better, simpler tools. So use those new front of package labels for the quick decisions. Focus on that bigger picture, the whole dietary pattern. And for the really complicated stuff, just know that the science is evolving and, most importantly, talk about it. Talk with your family and definitely talk with your doctor.
Ultimately, this is what it's all about. These changes, they're designed to empower you when you're in the grocery store. They give you a really simple way to teach your kids and your grandkids what healthy eating actually looks like. And maybe most importantly, they create a natural starting point for those crucial conversations about health that every family needs to have. So, as these new labels start showing up everywhere, they really do put more power directly into your hands. And that leaves us with one final, really important question. With these new tools and this new knowledge, how will you choose to shape the future of your family's dinner table?